kind of the measurement of happiness began with like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the more needs that are met within the pyramid, the higher the level of general happiness will be. It's always interesting that the synonym for happiness is the word content, and content is both an adjective and a noun, right? So in essence, the contents of your life relate to your content feelings, your contentment, or your happiness. That's why the content is important, because content is synonymous with happiness, because it means the same as well. Your contentment, your psychological state, because of the things that exist and happen within your life. You could say that the measure of a person is in essence the content of their ideas and thoughts, not in what they physically surround themselves with, basically. I mean, that's one way. That's one way to look at it. But happiness is hard to measure because of the adaptability of the human being, because we adapt to the new states that surround us. A person who is not content with what they have will not be content with more of what they have. In essence, because it's not the content that it's not the physical reality that determines the emotional state. It's the psychological relationship to the physical reality that determines the emotional state, which is what Aldous Huxley understood in Brave New World, but Orwell didn't understand in 1984. Orwell thought that the system was going to crush everybody with a kind of social fascism, but Huxley understood that real control and real power is much more subtle in its development, right? Real power does not ever display itself. That's the truth about real power. Real power does not display itself. It's there, but it's not ever really visible, because it always has some other kind of front or some other kind of aspect there. Real money is never on display. Those that are really wealthy, they hide their wealth because they understand the negativity that it draws to it. Money is measurable, but money is always abstract because it has the value that you give to it. Let's take a step back. I was talking earlier about, here's a little text for you. I was talking earlier about the writing of John Rappaport, a journalist. This is something that he wrote a few weeks ago. If you can see it, Huxley's 1932 novel about a world state, this is Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and its version of utopia is still one of the most important and relevant novels of our time. In the companion piece to, I should do it in my BBC presenter's voice. The BBC. In the companion, where's no, that's Scottish. Where's my British accent? British accent. No, that's okay. I've lost it. I've lost my British accent. Okay, the BBC. That's it. Okay, the BBC. In this companion piece to Orwell's 1984, It's like a nature documentary.
Yeah.
The overt brutal force has been removed from the equation in Brave New World. Instead, all births are synthetic, hatched in artificial womb factories with accompanying genetic manipulation. No more nuclear families, no more monogamy. Education is achieved through hypnotic sleep learning. Welcome to schools. A caste, which means class, of course, class. A class system is engineered, so why are classes called classes? is engineered so the lower, less intelligent classes are happy with their lot, and the upper level alphas occupy the top positions. The castes have little interest in associating with each other. You know, the profound and the profane. Technocracy has triumphed. The theme of life, the basic theme is pleasure. Pleasures of the senses. Not of the mind, not of constructive action, certainly not of the imagination. Pleasure keeps the citizens of the world state occupied, and if that fails, the ultimate backup is a drug called soma. Very close to the word coma.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Soma.
Yes, which relieves anxiety and depression and stimulates happiness. 25% of all Americans use some kind of opiate.
For sleeping? Do you mean that?
No, I mean, they
Sleeping?
take it regularly on a daily basis. It's prescribed by that 1 in every 4 adult Americans uses a form of opium drug. 1 in every 4, 25%. Crazy.
Happy people.
So that what's that REM song? Shiny happy people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There are many people living among us today who would opt for that life in a heartbeat. They would see no downside. Well, of course, sign me up. I've been trying to find that pleasure all along. I'll take it. Yeah, they're so orientated towards this quest for happiness and satisfaction that they will take anything to achieve that. Happy pills. In 1932, technocrats of Brave New World found a key. Why should they waste time trying to inflict pain on the population as a control mechanism? See overt fascism. Why should they risk rebellion and revolution, communism? Go positive and give people pleasure. Absolutely. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Happiness.
Yeah. Rome emperors are reigned in these ideas all the time, and when there was a shortage of money, they stopped provide games and plays, and it led to rebellions and worse. So it's written even here.
Yeah, it was.
It's
It was a slow, gradual decline for the Roman Empire. It didn't happen, instantly overnight. There were. It was. Yeah, it was an intergenerational decline because the children learned the mistakes from their parents. And eventually they were they were overrun by, but they lost from the inside out because they gave up on basic moral principles. Again, they placed pleasure over morality,
Yeah. It
You know,
was that side.
I mean, there were armies marching on Rome, and the elite societies of Rome were having parties because they didn't believe that armies could march on Rome, the great Roman Empire. No one could defeat the great Roman Empire. And of course, it was massive. Great empires always fall because of this massive delusion that exists. We saw that with the British Empire kind of fell apart when they all became disconnected, and they thought they could control things that they couldn't control. The American military-industrial complex has like invaded every country in the world, as far as I can see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting. So yeah, it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's interesting. Of course, that doesn't. People are still individuals, so you can have variations. Just to finish the text. All. Where's my British? BBC. Okay, right. Documentaries, wildlife. All older forms of government fade away. They were just crude experiments in the foothills, small hills, of the one and only revolution. Technology deployed to pacify the world. Interesting. By the way, in Brave New World, no one reads books. They're unnecessary. They make no sense. The better life is already a living fact. What possible benefit could a book deliver?
Yeah. So
interesting.